Good morning. I'm Kelly Garrett, and I represent you on the Board of Trustees. We all drink from wells we did not dig. This is as it should be. When I started attending the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, this was said every Sunday before the offertory. As a newcomer, I'd never thought of offering in this way. It was compelling. Pay now, feed forward, because somebody did it for you in the past. We all drink from wells we did not dig. Fast forward 20 years, I recently dug a well. Well, I didn't personally dig the well, but because you have to have a special license to do that. But I got a team that did it and made our way through all of the regulations and paperwork with the Utah Water Division. And finally, the drill team rolled the equipment up the hill and started drilling. This, like many endeavors requiring long-range vision, required a team. Our team, we had Nikki, the self-described geeky geologist who studied the rock composition. We had Freddie, who looking like a Harley-Davidson biker gang, and he was frequently at the top of the 60-foot well rig. And then John managed the crew, looking ahead for possibilities and pitfalls, reassuring me that we'd probably hit water any day now. So for weeks, that massive drill rig chewed through granite, producing only a few broken parts and requiring a couple of backup generators. We doubted if we would hit water. We were wondering how deep we should go and how much it would plunge us further into debt. But it worked out. We hit water. Eventually, the blue drill rig was back on the truck and crept down the hill to another hopeful spot. And now, when I turn on the tap, I may be more likely to think about how cold the water is on my hands, rather than really ponder what it all took to get the water there. How quickly I can forget. The ease I'm experiencing now came only after a team of hardworking people lent their talents to a project for weeks and weeks. Are we doing that here too? We're sitting on red woolly cushions, resting on wood pews or in seats, or maybe on your sofa at home. Do we know who made them or how they got here? How did this chalice get here? Who bought the coffee that's brewing next door? What preparation did our volunteer teachers take to lead the kids in their activities today? Who's going to shovel the snow come winter? And who's going to make sure that the solar panels are getting the sustainable return on investment that we hoped for? How do we ensure the things that we want, the things we need from this place, will be here in the future? Here, we dig the wells. We dig the wells with the vision that there are others who will benefit both now and in the future. It starts with each of us renewing our commitment to give our time, our financial support, along with offering our vulnerable hearts to this community. That's why I give. That's why I'm taking my turn on the Board of Trustees, because I have benefited from those who worked on making this place a sustainable home for spiritual inquiry and renewal. And it's my turn to do my part. And if I'm being honest, the longer I'm here, the more fun it's getting. And my connections to others here grow deeper. I hope that I will see many of you at the activities fair later today. Some of you will be behind the tables, thank you. Others will be seeking and curious. And I hope that many of you will be ready to join a team and volunteer to dig a well. Maybe you're more like Freddie and you can join the building and grounds team to check on the solar panels. By the way, you don't have to go up on the roof to do that. Or maybe you're more like John and you can help us cultivate leadership in our community. You can stop by the Board of Trustees table for that. But whoever you are, whatever skills you bring, there's a place for you here. We all drink from wells we did not dig. This is as it should be. That's why I'm a steward. The offering will now be gratefully received. You can say hello to one of the volunteer ushers who are passing by the beautiful wood plates, or you can pull out the QR code on this bookmark. And I also invite you to say hello to someone seated next to you.
My name is Colleen Bliss, and I'm a steward of this First Church. Like many of you, I'm a recovered Mormon, or maybe I should say a recovering Mormon. It's only been 38 years. My son Richard up there in the balcony asked me the other day, is there anything you miss about being a Mormon or not being a Mormon? My mind went to a list about what I don't miss. It's so easy and practiced and long, but what do I miss? I miss not seeing all my Mormon neighbors at least once a week and knowing their names and knowing their children's names. Initially, I said I miss knowing my neighbors, but I only knew their polished, true believer selves, striving for perfection, just their Mormon selves. I didn't know them like I've come to know you. Many of you so honestly and perfectly human and heart to heart, soul to soul. We tell each other what we really believe, who we really are. Then Richard asked, did you really pay 10% tithing? My response was, I still pay 10% tithing. Shocked, he said, you still pay the Mormon church 10%? No, I pay 10% of my income to things that are most important to me, that provide that nourishment for the soul, that soul food, like we just heard. Things that I get to choose. First Church is at the top of that list. I'm so glad to have learned in my early Mormon years the concept of paying 10% of my income to something very important, the source of my spiritual and soul nourishment. My very wise father-in-law used to say, the more you have, the more there is that has you. So just let go. Then my mind went to, what would I do without First Church? The source of that inspiration, my community, my dear friends, RE classes, my small groups, the meditation sangha, our biking group called the Church of the Holy Spokes, the burrito team, the music, Sunday sermons, good coffee with animal crackers, ministers past, present, and future. How do I put a price on that? Here we gather to somehow ease part of the suffering that we experience here on this wild and crazy and beautiful planet that we share. Maybe I should up my pledge again. What do you think?
Good morning. I'm Kathy Chambliss, and I'm a member of the Church Finance Committee, and I represent you, the congregation, on that committee. I'm here to tell you why I am a steward of this church. I was raised in Sioux City, Iowa, in a devout Catholic family. We were 2 parents and 5 kids. Our whole family went to Mass every Sunday. We did not eat meat on Fridays and went to confession on Saturday. During Lent, my family prayed the rosary on our knees every evening. I went to Catholic schools from kindergarten through my graduation from college, with the exception of 3 years in high school. So it was to my parents' great dismay and sorrow that in my senior year in college, that I was no longer a Catholic, that I told them, I announced to them that I was no longer a Catholic. Yes, it was at the age of 22 that I was seeking a different spiritual path. I was a Unitarian Universalist at heart, but I did not know what a UU was until at least 12 years later. It was at the age of 34 that Tim and I discovered this church on 13th East in Salt Lake City. And we have been coming here ever since. Dick Henry was the minister. Our son and daughter attended religious education through high school. We taught RE and sex education for junior high age kids. I served on the RE committee, the pledge drive, ministerial relations, endowment, the board of trustees, finance committee, and I survived 2 capital campaigns. It was through this church that I came to understand that ministry does not come solely from a priest, but arises from a covenant that we make to each other. Small group ministry is an example of this covenant. Ministry is enhanced by words of great thinkers from various traditions, by music, by meditation, and through celebrating births, marriages, and the lives of those who've passed. My list of reasons for supporting this church with volunteer time and money has changed, evolved, and lengthened over the years. For a time, it was Dick Henry and Tom Goldsmith's inspiring sermons that made me think and examine whether I was living up to my values. Then it was the broad religious education for our kids. In the mid-'80s, the RE committee consisted of 2 people, Barbara Creek and myself. I remember trying to select curriculum that covered different world religions. I wished I had that growing up. When I was on the board of trustees in the 90s, the board voted to establish the memorial garden in the southeast corner of the church with the glass-paned fence that memorializes past loved ones. A capital campaign raised funds to build the RE building. I have a strong memory of being on the board, and it was my terror at having to make announcements at Sunday service. The opportunities for social justice, welcoming refugees, preparing meals for homeless youth, supporting a West Side Catholic church. We slept overnight at the church for many months to protect a family seeking asylum, Vicky Chavez and her daughters. Sleeping overnight in the Haven, we eventually got used to being awakened around midnight when the janitor came in to vacuum. Over the years, it became the community of amazing people who come to this church, putting on Halloween parties, hosting circle suppers, planning summer forums, marching in the Pride Parade. And then there was solstice services. I have cringing memories of sitting in the chapel during solstice, feeling embarrassed by my husband's corny Mr. Son. And I couldn't admit it. Each year, when it's time to renew our pledge, I think seriously about all the competing needs in my life. It's always a struggle to keep up with the need and to keep it the same or to grow it, to keep up with the church's need. At this point in my life, my primary motivation is to ensure that this church will continue to be a spiritual home, a haven, a respected and valued institution for others now and in the future.